So today I decided to make a video about something that I've been wanting to make, I guess, for a while. Um, and I was out of ideas, so this is what you get. And the topic that I want to talk about is about my own experience with um, death, I guess. Um, by the way, I haven't had such a big experience with it. I mean, a few people have died, um, but not that many, I guess, so that I have a wider range um, of knowledge about how I would react again, I guess. I don't know. Um, but I want to talk about grief without belief, that is, how I, as an atheist, react or um, my thoughts about death and the death, particularly death of others. Um, as someone that doesn't think that there is an heaven or a hell for them to go to, so I don't particularly believe that I will see that person again. Um, and I think this question is very interesting, and there are a lot of things to get out of this idea of grief without belief. That is how I see death and the death of others. Um, so I guess I would probably start by making maybe the question, or starting with, does atheism make you or make it harder to cope when someone dies than if you believed in a god, if you were a theist or a deist? Um, I don't think so, for some reasons. That is, first, because I think that this is all that you get in life, that life will be whatever you make of it, and I don't think there's any reason to think that you will get more than whatever you got in this life. Um, I mean, if someone dies, imagine that your friend dies or a family member, and you see everyone clearly upset and crying. And I've heard that one of the first things that you think about when someone dies is about the time that you didn't spend with that person. So you start thinking about the time that you still could have spent, um, or the time that you didn't have with that person. Um, I don't think that not believing in God, in this case, not believing that there is an heaven or an hell, either makes it harder. I think it makes it clearer. What do I mean by this? It's because it makes life a lot more precious than if it was just temporary. Like I've said in the previous videos, um, about me not particularly understanding why religious people cry in funerals when most of the people there clearly believe in something else, in something more. Um, I think it's in a way ironic that, being one of the only people that doesn't believe, I'm also the only one that doesn't cry, because life is precious precisely because it has an end. If your life was infinite, people tend to see something like, you'll see a lot of this in movies, and you see a lot of people asking. Imagine that if you ask someone, what kind of superpower would you like to have? It's not uncommon to ask to get a response of immortality, for example. Um, People, I don't think, truly understand the concept of infinity, and it's okay because our brains are not particularly evolved to understand concepts as big as infinite. We can barely think about this, make this thought experiment. We can understand very well what the last decade was, maybe 20 years, easily. If you go 50 years into the past, or if you try to imagine life in the 70s, it becomes a bit more complex. Of course, we have movies, but it becomes a bit more complex. Try 100 years into the past, a lot harder. Try now, for example, the 15th century, a lot more difficult. And this is just 500 years ago. Try now 2000 years ago, in ancient Palestine, for example, on which people didn't even understand that the earth was round, that rain came. Not because there was an entity sending it, or because there was this dome that had holes and the universe was made of water and that's how it rained. They didn't understand disease. They thought it was some sort of illness. They thought it was because people had stopped going to church, or it wasn't enough people in the churches. Now try 10,000 years ago. You can't, pretty much. You can try to make you can open a history book and see what more or less life was about, but it becomes almost impossible to get a clear picture of what life was. As long as you progress in time, the more difficult it becomes, obviously, because it becomes as far away from your reality as you can have. So this is why the concept of infinity is almost impossible to comprehend, because it's infinitely expensive, it's infinitely big. Now, think about this. Would an infinite life be worth living? I'm not sure. What makes life worth living, what makes you get out of bed in the morning, is knowing that your time is precious, is knowing that if you don't, you are losing minutes, you are losing hours of life. And this is why people hate wastes of time, I think. It's because they understand that they will not get those minutes back. It's why people hate, like, waiting in lines, doing something that they don't want to, things that they feel that occupy their time in either a non-productive way or in a way that they don't really care about, because they understand that they will not get that time back. And by the way, isn't it frustrating that we waste 1/3 of our life in bed sleeping? How frustrating is that? So an immortal life being, of course, if you are atheist and if you believe that there is something else, would probably be something like this. I'm almost sure that an infinite life would soon become a nightmare. It would soon become hell, because you wouldn't have the problem of saying, for example, oh, I will do that tomorrow, knowing that you are wasting one day. Because if you have an infinite life, it doesn't matter if you are wasting this day, you'll always get one. You would lose all the motivation to do anything. Life would become meaningless, because you could always do it tomorrow, or tomorrow, or tomorrow, or tomorrow. It would lose the value that it has to do things in the moment, in actually acting and having action. So, to live an infinite life, if you believe, for example, that you are going to heaven, don't you think that as good as heaven can be, in 1,000 years, don't you think that you will be tired of it? Don't you think that in 10,000 years, don't you think that you will be tired of praising God? No matter how good it would be, your life would be meaningless. I mean, we understand, psychology is very clear on this, that people need meaning in life, and there are many ways in which people can have it. Dedicate yourself to your family, dedicate to work, dedicate to helping others, dedicate to your country. Like, there are 1,000 ways on which people try to gain meaning in their lives, and I think you lose it completely if you have an immortal life. What's the point of anything if you can always do it tomorrow? If there's no expiration date on which things stop. And this is the first point of immortality, I guess. And does atheism makes me sadder than theism? First, I don't think I would know because I was never atheist. I think ever, not even when I was a kid, and I went to Sunday school for many years, and I was one of those little altar boys when I was a kid. And I went to church, and I went to the Catholic school. I was actually well behaved there for some reason. I was terrible at school, but well behaved there. Who knows why? So I don't think atheism makes you sadder. It makes you more aware of reality, I would say. It tells you that the time that you have and the time that you spent with this person is precious. So don't waste it like arguing over nonsense or doing stuff that isn't really productive to you or to those around you. It's kind of nonsense to waste your time when time is all you have. So no, I don't think it makes me sadder. If someone dies, I would think like that I had good times with that person. Now they are gone, but I'm still here to remember them, so it's okay. And when I'm not here to remember it, they happened anyways, so that's pretty much all you can hope for, that you will remember what things were, for your sake and for the sake of the people that die. I mean, that's why you see those old photographs with like your grandmother's parents or people that are already dead, and they are still there because their memories live on, at least in a picture or in a painting or in a letter, whatever. So now, how to face the death of relatives? I've kind of already explained it. I think that is, there's no reason on which you shouldn't be kind to others. I mean, even Sam Harris has something very interesting to say about this. When I became an existential nihilist about like 4 or 5 years ago, I became bitter. Because like I said, thinking that life has no meaning kind of messes you up a bit because you lose the interest in anything. Things that used to like make me happy, like studying physics or studying philosophy, going out with friends, doing my stuff. Suddenly, like, I didn't care. So I think that there may be, if you are like a young atheist and starting into philosophy, maybe there is like a bit of a phase on which you may face a bit of discomfort with the idea of death, and the idea of meaninglessness. The thing is, it's not at all. Even if life doesn't have intrinsic meaning in it, in a way that there is no reason for you to be here. You are here like a star is here, or like a mountain, or a cat, or a planet. You are as part of the universe as a star. How cool is that? You are even better because you are its thinking part. There's no reason on which why not to be kind to others, for example, or why not to learn, why not to live a happy life, even if that's all you're going to get. It's precisely because that's all you're going to get that you should thrive for that, or you should make an effort to have an happy life. Because if that's all you're going to get, if you have an unhappy life, it kind of sucked. Your existence kind of sucked. So yeah, it's precisely because your time is being counted that it matters to spend time with others. Because again, if you are going to see that person in heaven, if it's all temporary, then why cry? Why does it matter? Why spend time with that person on earth if you have an eternity afterwards to do whatever you want? You will have time to grow tired of those people because it will last forever. It will be an endless cycle. And I think that's why it makes it a nightmare. But we will soon see, I guess. If it makes you sad, what to do? What I did when existential nihilism was kind of making me sad was first go talk to a therapist. If like you are in the point of actual sadness, talk to a therapist. Like it's okay, it's fine. Second is maybe find a hobby. If you can, like, there is this very interesting quote that makes a lot of sense, I guess, that is, if your life is meaningless, try make someone else's life meaningful. Give meaning to someone else's life. This is very interesting because there are actual people who need help. Like, it's not even a joke. Everybody knows this. If your life is meaningless, or if you think that it is meaningless, in the sense that you really have nothing to do, if you are kind of bored with existence, make yourself count. Make yourself valuable to others. It's going to sound so retarded and cliche, but try to be like the reason on why someone else wakes up happy in the morning. It's so stupid to say it like this, but yeah. Anyways, on the action of praying, this is probably my last point. Look, if someone is in a hospital and like severely like dying or severely ill, or on which the time may very well be counting down on that person, don't pray for that person. Go there. Like, praying will not do anything for that person, like, or most likely will not do anything for that person. And even if what's the point of praying if God has already its plan in mind? Like, imagine that if that person is destined to hell, what will your prayers do? The same thing will happen if that person is destined to heaven and you want them to go to hell. Like, who are you to determine where that person is going? By the way, if a person is dying and dies, isn't that part of God's plan? Then the plan is already determined. Your prayers are not going to help because God will do whatever He wants anyways. Your prayers are not going to change God's mind, although He does change His mind several times in the Bible. But anyways, spend time with people. Like, don't be an asshole to people. Help them if they need help. Because helping others in times of their needs may very well be one of the things that may help yourself too. So I think that's it. I think that's my opinion on grief without belief, the topic. And that's it. If you have any recommendations, make them in the comments. Thanks.